Hey everybody, it's Bob.
And Susan.
And in this episode of Real Retail TV, we're going to share takeaways from today's Summer Summit Kickoff. We had five, count them, of our summit speakers on sharing what they're going to talk about, sort of giving you some advice. So we're going to share those takeaways with you in this episode of Real Retail TV. But before we get to that, I just want to really share with you the importance of registering for the Retail Success Summit right now.
Yep.
Until June 28th, Friday, June 28th, you can save $500 on your registration. Normally, the Retail Success Summit is an investment of $997 plus $297 each additional person. From now until June 28th, it's only $497 plus $297 each additional person. But another little fun fact to share with you is you take absolutely no risk when you sign up, when you register for the Retail Success Summit. If you come to the summit and you aren't thrilled with what you're learning, if you're not excited when you leave, if it does not meet your expectations, let us know. We'll give you your registration plus $1,000. We are that confident that you are going to have an absolutely fantastic experience at the Retail Success Summit. So register now. Now let's get on to this episode of Real Retail TV.
And we'll see you at the summit.
We'll see you, yes. And we'll see you at the summit. Okay, so there were five of our summit speakers came on live. Here are the takeaways. Susan, would you like to start? We'll start with Josh.
Sure, I'm going to start with Josh Orr from Capital Commerce. He is going to be one of the speakers, and the truth bomb that he laid on us at the Summer Summit Kickoff blew my mind. And what he said was they've been doing research through their business. And what they're finding is that customers who buy through more than one channel for your brand, so maybe they're buying in the store and they're buying on your e-commerce site, or maybe they're buying in your store and they're buying on your social channels, or they're buying on your socials and they're buying on e-commerce, 2 channels, they have a 30% higher lifetime value than a customer that only buys in one place from your company. So that's just, it's mind-blowing and it's game-changing. So think about that. Think about how can you get more of your customers buying from 2 channels in your business.
Well, I can tell you how. Come to the Retail
Summit.
Success Summit and go to Josh's session, and that's what he's going to share with you.
Absolutely.
And then Nick McHenry from One Shop Retail shared another super interesting statistic. And, you know, he's got access to several $1 billion worth of transactional information from different point-of-sale systems, and 70%, now this is really frightening, 70% of customers, and you know, we know some of his customers who are really, really good merchants, and even with these really good merchants, 70% of new customers only shop once. And what Nick... One time. Isn't that, it's just unbelievable the potential that is illustrated there. And Nick's going to be speaking at the summit, of course, but he's going to really sort of share some strategies for how do you get that 70% who is only shopping one time? How do you get 35 or half of those people to shop once or 2 or 3 times? So I thought that statistic was also really, really interesting.
And the thing that's cool about both of those guys when they talked is that's just actual data. That's not like made up ideas. It's statistical facts that they've been able to pull.
And the idea that they can show you how to combat these, how you don't have to be a victim of these kinds of, I don't know if you can become a victim of statistics, but you know what I mean. How do you combat that? How do you get that second transaction from that second channel? How do you get that one-time customer in your store more often? These guys are pros, they're experts, and of course they're going to be at the summit.
Yeah, that was great. We also had Melody from Max Retail. She's a brand new speaker for us at the summit this year. We have a lot of new speakers. She was one. She joined us on the Summer Summit Kickoff today, and she was talking about the liquidation of like old, aging, bad inventory. And I know that so many of us you're struggling with a clearance center or your sidewalk sales, and you have to go to these extraordinary measures to clear out your old inventory, or even, gosh, heaven forbid, some people are boxing their inventory up.
Let's not talk about that.
And putting it in their basement. Please, if that's you, you need to come to the summit and talk to Melody, because what she's going to be talking about, and what she talked about today that I thought was so interesting, is that the same kinds of economies of scale and technologies around clearing out old inventory, liquidating bad inventory, that have in the past only been available to really big retailers, Target, Walmart, those guys, is now available to independent retailers. And so the same benefits of quickly clearing through and getting maximum amount of money out of your old inventory, there are these new technologies that are available, and really increasing your margin, your overall margin percentage, that goes straight to your bottom line, goes straight to your profit level. So that was super exciting to hear that these new technologies are in place.
Yes, and of course she's going to be at the Retail Success Summit. You can talk to her, so if you're carrying too much inventory, it makes it worthwhile to come to the summit. I loved Dane Cohen from Management One told a story, and he said, I got to tell you an anecdote. And he said, he met a woman who said, do you remember me? And Dane said, no. They met him at market. And this woman said, I'm the person you yelled at the Retail Success Summit.
He didn't really yell at her.
He didn't really yell at her, but of course, Dane, being the kind guy he is like, what? And this woman, this merchant, was turning one time a year, meaning she had as much inventory as her annual sales. And Dane yelled at her that she needed to clear out some merchandise.
She should have been talking to Melody at Max Retail.
The case and point taken. But what she shared was that, Dane says, hey, we can't even work with you until you get this all down, until you get your inventory under control. And so the tip here is your store is not a museum. So she indeed took Dane's advice to heart, cleared out a lot of stuff. She is now a Management One client. And in the chat, she said, hey, that was me. So she raised her hand and said, I was the person. So do you see all of these?
Well, what she said was that it had changed her business.
It had changed her business.
Completely changed her business.
Yes.
So yay.
And so many people, when they come to the summit, you may have heard about Management One, but when you get there and you listen to Dane speak and you talk to Dane, at his booth, all of a sudden, Dane and Celeste, all of a sudden you go, oh, I see how this works. I see. In fact, Melody was saying that when she was a real retailer, Melody from Max Retail, that, she said, I was a retailer for 7 years before I became a real retailer, before she hired Management One. Before she hired Management One, she was somebody who was selling stuff rather than a pro.
A shopkeeper.
A shopkeeper.
Yeah, we call him shopkeeper.
Anyway, and then finally.
Yeah, the last speaker that we had come on the live was Dan from Canadian Retail Solutions. They do work with people all over North America, not just Canadians. But his little takeaway, his little tip that was really great is he said your point of sale system, and he's a point of sale expert, that's what he does, is it has two and only two functions: to manage your inventory and manage your customers. And the biggest power that most retailers don't take advantage of, but the biggest power of your point of sale system is to connect your merchandise with your customers. Like, what merchandise goes with what customers at a very granular one-on-one level, and even at some bigger demographic and segment levels. So this idea of how are you managing your inventory based on the actual customers that you have in your store. That your point of sale system has the power and ability to give you that information. That's what he's going to be talking about at the Retail Success Summit. Mind-blowing.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And, it is available as a replay. But just to reiterate, if you haven't registered for the Retail Success Summit, do it now. Because from now until June 28th, Friday, June 28th, you can save 50%, or not exactly 50%. But normally it's $997.
More than 50%.
There you go. Normally it's $997 plus $297 for each additional person. Until that Friday, it's only $497 plus each additional person. And
save $500.
Save $500. And I do want to reiterate, there is a better than money back guarantee. If you come to the summit and you aren't thrilled with what you're learning, if you're not excited when you leave, talk to us and request it, and we will give you all your money back plus $1,000. So there's a lot of reasons to come. There's not very many reasons not to come. The Retail Success Summit won't break you, but it might make you. So register today.